industry is in crisis right now. I mean, they're losing 40% of their annual budget
Oh, that's
next
great.
year, potentially. I think that they they're closing a lot of facilities across the country, and I think overall the industry is
Planned
financially in
Parenthood
crisis.
specifically, I want to say
Right.
for,
Yeah,
yeah.
Planned Parenthood.
Welcome to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends, the podcast where we explore life, career, relationships, and pop culture through a Christian conservative perspective. Each episode, we dive into deep topics that matter most to us women, from navigating your career with grace and confidence to watering meaningful relationships grounded in faith. We're here to empower you to embrace your femininity and stand firm in your beliefs. We'll also tackle the latest in pop culture, discussing how they align or clash with our values. Let's uncover the truth and encourage each other to live boldly and authentically. So whether you're at home or on your commute, get ready for some fabulous conversations. Grab your teacup, pour yourself some tea. Come on, girlies, we're changing culture. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. I am Mal, your gal pal. And then say your name. It's okay.
I'm Terrisa Bukovinac.
It's okay. And I'm super excited to have you guys listening to this episode. As you know, a huge, important part of being an other girl or just this brand in general is being pro-life. And I have had a myriad of people on to talk about being pro-life, but I'm really excited to have Teresa on. She is someone I met maybe like 5 years ago, whenever Amy Coney Barrett, when that was, I guess that was 5 years ago.
Wow.
5 years ago. She is a powerhouse. You guys have seen her before. And let me read her bio really quick. So, Teresa is an atheist leftist. First atheist leftist on the show, by the way. So, congratulations.
Thank you. It's an honor.
And the founder of the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising. She ran for president against Joe Biden in the 2024 Democratic primary, formerly founded Pro-Life San Francisco, and is the former president of Democrats for Life. Teresa also serves as a vice president of Secular Pro-Life, on the board of directors for Let Them Live and Rehumanize International. Teresa graduated at the top of her class from Specs Howard School of Broadcast Arts and has over 15 years experience in business and team management with several Fortune 500 companies. She's been arrested multiple times and spent time in jail for leading peaceful civil disobedience actions in and around abortion businesses. Teresa has also participated in direct actions for various social justice movements, from animal rights to death penalty abolition. Her efforts have been featured in various major media outlets, including New York Times, Washington Post, NBC, NPR, BBC, ABC, CBS, Fox News, Rolling Stone, and the Christian Post. She resides in DuPont, Washington, D.C. with her 2 cats. So, super excited to have you on, Teresa. And this has been a long time coming, and we have a lot of things to talk about in general. So, let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is Santangelo. You recently went viral on the PAAU account and all over social media confronting him. Let's talk about who he is, why you were confronting him. Let's discuss that.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's been awesome knowing you all these years and doing all this activism with you. I'm so glad that the podcast is still going so well.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, just honored to be here and proud of you.
Thank you.
And also, I'm proud that your listeners may be familiar with the Justice for the Five Babies. They may be familiar with the discovery that Lauren Handy and I made more than 3 years ago outside an all-term abortion business in Washington, D.C. We convinced the driver of a medical waste company to give us the box that he was taking to an incinerator in order to make electricity for the city of Baltimore. So he handed us the box, and inside were the remains of 115 aborted babies that came from Santangelo's all-term abortion business. 5 of them were very late term, past the age of viability, some past 30 weeks, and some appear to be victims of federal crimes, including violations of the Partial Birth Abortion Ban Act and the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, or one of the variations of that. I can't remember the exact name, but it is these crimes have been covered up by the DCPD. We handed over the remains, and there has been some interest from Congress in terms of forcing the hand of the Department of Justice. But this all is happening at Santangelo's clinic. This is just a few miles from the White House in Washington, D.C., and he has been killing babies there into all trimesters for more than 4 decades.
Oh, wow, that's
He is
crazy.
the sole abortionist there. Um, and since the discovery, there's been a lot of pressure on this guy. There's a lot more sidewalk counseling happening, a lot more just interest in what's going on at that particular facility. And he also has begun entering the facility in a full cast on his arm, and also clearly having difficulty walking, needing an escort to bring him into the building. So this obviously raises a lot of concerns about who is actually performing these abortions at this clinic, and just
That's really
overall the
dangerous.
lack of oversight here. I mean, this
Yeah.
guy is being allowed to basically commit violent federal crimes against infants, and no one has held him to account as of yet. So I, along with my team, thought, well, I should just go get it on camera, and hopefully Congress would care and that people would care, and we can use that as an opportunity to make something happen with this
Yeah.
investigation, force Pam Bondi's hand. So I had kind of an idea, a general window of a few hours when he might be expected to arrive at the building, and there were several entrances, and it's down by the GW campus there in Washington, D.C., so it's very populated. There's a lot going on. It's right by a bus stop. There's a ton of traffic. And so it was pretty chaotic down there. I wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to catch him, but just as I was starting to feel like maybe we wouldn't, someone came up from the front and yelled, "He's here." So I ran back, and instead of confronting him directly, I had somebody there with the camera. I just spoke into the camera, asking the viewer and Congress to look at the state that Santangelo was in, that he's clearly not in a position to be doing quote unquote safe abortions. This on top of the other major concerns about what he's doing there. I was really happy to see that people did take interest in it, that the video went viral, and that there was significant pressure put on Congress. And we know that Congress is putting pressure on the Department of Justice and the FBI as we speak on justice for the 5 specific issues. But we don't know exactly where that's leading yet. And so the calls need to continue coming in, and calls for action and continued protest and just caring about these babies and continuing to talk about the story is going to be really critical in terms of ultimately getting justice for them. But we're hoping that this interaction that I was able to have with Santangelo will help bring that along.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, and you're really right, because the idea really it needs to be to put as much pressure and to be in the media and to, like, get people to care, get people to be talking about it. So I'm really glad that we're having this conversation, and I'll put some action steps in the show notes, everyone, about like what everyone listening, what you can do. And my question is, so you guys have been able to kind of talk to someone in, or like kind of get it invested, or people, you said people in the FBI and DOJ are kind of looking into it. Do you know what's kind of holding them back? Like, is it just too high profile? Are they just like, who cares about the babies? Like, do you know what's the holdup?
It's a great question. I wish that I did. I've been working in the pro-life space for nearly a decade now, particularly in the space of late-term abortion. And I got started when I founded Pro Life San Francisco, discovering the horrors that were happening at UCSF, the University of California in San Francisco, and has kind of sent me down this path of discovering what kinds of realities exist in the United States. And I'm so sorry, what did you say? What was your question again? Why
Oh,
is this happening? Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
like
why aren't they
why?
doing anything?
Yeah.
So it's like the question is, we had a pro-life quote unquote attorney general previously with Bill Barr. He's Catholic. He
Mm.
spoke at the Catholic prayer breakfast. He was Trump appointed. And Congress, after David Daleiden and the Center for Medical Progress videos came out, Congress actually called on the DOJ to investigate and made more than a dozen criminal referrals to these entities, and the DOJ never did it. So there's always been this lingering question of what happened with that DOJ investigation. How much of what's going on with the five is potentially part of a broader investigation into the industry, but also why is this negligence of accountability spanning three presidential administrations? I mean, it is a profound question. We really have to be asking our leaders these questions and continuing to ensure that there is accountability, because it's up to us. It's up to us as the people to put enough accountability on our leaders to ensure that they hold these killers in our communities accountable.
Yeah, so that is interesting. I wonder if it is part of something bigger, because you would think if they, if big they, wants to have abortion, stuff like that, you would think they would want to make sure that they're as safe and like they want to dot all their I's. And this is a big undotted I, a big uncrossed T. So you would think that they would want to hop on that as quickly as possible, but it's like they're ignoring it. That's what it seems like.
Well, the
And
industry is in crisis right now, and they're losing 40% of their annual budget
oh, that's
next
great.
year, potentially. I think that they they're closing a lot of facilities across the country, and I think overall the industry is
Planned
financially in
Parenthood
crisis.
specifically, I want to say
Right.
for
Yeah,
yeah.
Planned Parenthood and entities that have interest in late term abortion. And I think that perhaps there is a moment where we're closing in, maybe the DOJ is closing in on some issues, and also we're disarming them financially, and it's giving us an opportunity to potentially expose them, to have another opportunity to try to turn the tide on this issue. But I think we are seeing a moment of change for the abortion industry.
Good.
I just think it's really critical that we as pro-lifers are coming in with a strong message of support and courage in the face of what is really happening.
And I think that's a good transition a little bit to talk about the defunding of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I think we talked about it on the podcast for like a hot second, but can you maybe give a couple details about what is that going to look like for next year?
No, I'm not even sure when it would go into effect, but I just think the implications of it are massive. I think it cannot be understated how difficult it's going to be for this industry and this particular institution to come back from this. I think that we've had some major victories as a and Roe versus Wade had a major effect on the financial strength of Planned Parenthood, and now this defunding, I think it's going to seriously impede their ability to
Good.
kill children and to continue. I think it's really the messaging, though, that they
Yeah.
pump millions and millions of dollars into the political system and into messaging and to really trying to capture that millennial leftist vibe so that they can keep this toxic relationship with the Democrat Party. But if they don't have the kind of money that's needed anymore to support candidates, and they don't have the kind of money they had from those political and other relationships in order to maximize their messaging, then it's going to be difficult for them on all fronts going forward. And um, I'm going to do everything I can to maximize this moment.
Yeah. I like what you said there. Maximizing the moment. And I think you made a very good point about all that money that they have and how they try to make things look really, I don't want to say cutesy, that's not the right word, but like they make it look cool. Like you're right now in society, you're the weird one for being pro-life. You're not a lot of pro-lifers, and I've talked about it on the podcast. Some of them come off a little weird. Let's be honest. We all can name a couple. So they do a really good job at messaging. And I mean, I see it on TikTok all the time, people commenting things and things that are just completely out of, that just can't be further from the truth about pro-lifers because they saw this and they just heard this one thing, and then they'll make a comment, well then this person did this, and it's like, well that's actually not how it happened, and all this other stuff. So it's going to be great that they do not have the money to be able to do that.
Yep. The stereotype is so strong, and that's been a big part of PAAU's mission all along, is to just be representative so people don't feel that they need to change everything about who they are and what they believe to recognize child killing when they see it. And I think stripping them of their money is going to be the most effective way that we can change the world.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. So I know that it's only for a year. Do you think that, do they do a budget every 2 years or every year? I think it's every,
I wish I knew more about the specifics of that. I'm learning as
yeah,
I go,
me too.
but
So
I think it'll be
a continuous thing, they'll like probably do this again.
I just think, yeah, I think it'll be difficult for them to bounce back from it, even if funding resumes at some point. But I think it's going to be very difficult for them to get back what they once had. It always is. Once it's lost, it's hard to get
Yeah,
back. And I'm counting on that being true in this situation so that we can
yeah.
save lives.
What do you think the average pro-lifer watching, what can they do to like capitalize on this moment? Like something that they can do with their friends and family or just in general?
Well, the first thing that everybody has to do is speak up, is to be visibly not going along with the pro-abortion narrative. It's the
Yeah,
hardest threshold for most people to cross. It's like if somebody is like having a conversation around you, the thought of saying, you know what, I don't agree with that sounds like death itself. But I think that is literally the most important thing that people can do. You don't have to fight with them about it. You don't have to get into it with them about any of the details. You can just say, look, I don't want to talk about it, about the details or whatever, but I just want you to know that I disagree. That's all you have to say to change so many things about the way that person perceives pro-life people, about the way they perceive the pro-life position. And planting those seeds and crossing that threshold is just essential to doing literally anything else for the unborn. But beyond that, I would say, continue to be courageous. Every small step we take towards, getting out of our comfort zones, confronting something, doing something we haven't done before, it has a domino effect. It affects people around you and the other people in the movement. And so I just want to encourage everyone to take small steps of courage, or small courageous steps, but just keep taking them. Like not just one, just do the
yeah.
next one after that and the next one after that. And then we'll change the world.
Yeah. And I want to add, find people who are like you. So I said that really slow, weird, but like find people who are like you, because one thing I do like about Teresa and Pow in general is like can rehumanize and others secular pro life. What I like about all of those groups are everybody's 110% themselves, and nobody is like changing who they are, and like it touches not just Christians, not just conservatives, which I would say there are Christians slash conservatives that are in those groups too, but like it's not, no one's changing themselves. And I think that's really important too, if you're when you're in movement, because you want to find community. It's just finding that group. So you might not feel like you fit in with XYZ group, but look over here at this group and like make friends and like build community. Because I will say, like, at least for myself, having friends has really helped, especially when you're having a conversation with someone, you need extra help, or like you're feeling as if you are alone. And that's a human thing. It's very human. If everyone else is thinks one way and you think another way, and you're like, oh, am I right, am I right, it's human to wonder that. So I think finding groups, like-minded people, is going to be very important as well.
Totally, community. But it's also been really critical for me and my work. And I know that not everyone is going to have the same experience that I had, but it has been critical in my work that I have been lonely, that
Mm,
I have been alone. And not because, I don't deserve community, I do, but because I'm building something new. And when you're stepping out alone, when you're stepping out and doing something new, you are alone sometimes. And that is another part of the threshold that needs to be crossed. It is scary to do something by yourself, or
yeah,
something that feels like it's by yourself. But if you do it like I did it, then the community will come after. Now there is a community
100.
for pro-life leftists. Now there is a community for pro-life atheists, and there will be communities for other types of pro-lifers too, because we're creating those spaces for them. So it's all very meaningful to me.
Yeah, love it. Let's transition and talk about, there was 2 more things that I am going to pull up. Let's talk about some of the things that PAAU is going to be doing, some of the things that it's done so far. Can you give us a little overview of that?
Yes. So we did a lot of election related stuff in 2024. Now that we're in a non-election year, we're focusing heavily on international work, planting seeds in smaller countries. A couple of years ago, we did spend some time in Germany and the
That's really
UK.
cool.
And this year we were able to go to the March for Life Mexico. We're setting up to train people in Vienna. We're going
Whoa.
to be working in Budapest and Cologne and France. And we're just really trying to have an impact in these places like we did a couple years ago. There are articles that have been written about those locations and about the rise in anti-abortion activism and sidewalk counseling in particular, and they always blame us. And I got to tell you, like, it is not that hard to have a big impact in a smaller country. And I think in these non-election years, I think of it like I'm painting a masterpiece sometimes, and the masterpiece is ending legalized child killing. And I don't think that that's going to happen just, in one place at one time. What happens in the US matters. It echoes across the globe, no matter what.
Mhm.
But if we already have seeds planted all over the globe where it doesn't matter what your religious background is, it doesn't matter what your politics are, child killing is a universal wrong.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to be able to see the tide turn quicker and more monumentally if we have enough happening in places outside of the country to reinforce the massive change that we're hoping will occur in the near future here in our own nation.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. And there's another org that goes international that Melanie's part of, and I really am forgetting the name.
Pro Life
Um,
Global.
yes, Pro Life Global. Everybody don't act like I did not forget the name. And I think like PAL going international, Pro Life Global, that is going to be so impactful because, like you said, it does start in the US. But if we're doing these things trickling everywhere, I mean, it'll be a much smoother transition. Because that's the other thing, too, we have to remember. That's why I think like abortion, illegal, and unthinkable, those 2 things are really important to go hand in hand because once it happens, once abortion is illegal, there's going to be a whole, like, we have to have systems set in place to help people because, it's not just about, yay, now it's illegal. We also want to help moms and babies and families. Like, there's so much more to it. So I think it's really great that, POW is going international. That's really cool.
Thank you.
That's really cool. And now, if someone wants to help with that, is it on the website or are you guys, like, how does someone join POW actually? That I don't know.
Yeah, there's contact information on our website. You can reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. We're actively recruiting all the time. That is literally what we do. So if anyone out there feels they have any talents that they want to lend to a progressive anti-abortion organization, we would love to hear from you, whatever your talent or niche is. And if you are interested in doing activism with us, engaging in international activism, we'd love to have you along. So just reach out to us and send us your bio, and we'll get right to work finding where we can fit you in. You are welcome with us, like, no matter what. Like, even if you're not progressive or it's not about that. This is about mobilizing people for action. And, we come at it from a progressive lens, but we are radically inclusive, and that includes conservatives and, people of all kinds and all stripes. So please know that you have a place with POW, regardless of your background.
Love that, love that. So last thing I kind of want to discuss is looking forward, 2026 elections. What are some things that you're seeing? What are some thoughts you have? What can we be doing to, I mean, we got to get pro-life Republican, Democrat, whoever, pro-life politicians in. We have to get them in. So what are you seeing in that regards?
Yes, the election is so important. I have spent a lot of time, like I said, in this work, and none of it matters if we're not making any real political moves. So I just really want to
Yeah.
encourage all pro-life activists to stay engaged in what's happening with the law, because we get very few places if we aren't caring about politics. I ran for president against Joe Biden in the 2024 Democrat primary. I did it in order to run ads of the abortion victims that I found in that box 3 years ago at Santangelo's clinic. As a federal candidate, my ads cannot be censored, and television ads are actually not that expensive anymore. So I literally just ran for president. Had to get on the ballot in a couple places, getting signatures, but you know, anyone can do it. It's literally accessible to anyone. And then as a candidate, once you're on the ballot, you can run any ad that you want. And I am calling on every single pro-lifer who has any skin in this game whatsoever, or has any interest in having skin in this game, run for federal office in 2026, and you can run uncensored ads on national television. It's the law. So if anyone is interested in that in particular and wants some encouragement and advice, please message me at Teresa Lynn. If she's going to put it in the chat, it's
Yeah.
TerrisaLin. And yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I think this is such a creative out of the box. That's one thing that I love about like just being creative. Like that's so out of the box to think to do that. And it's the perfect way to get the message out because I mean, most people everybody's watching TV and I also notice political ads are on YouTube. So even if people aren't watching, even if people don't come home and watch, Entertainment Tonight or like World News, they are watching YouTube. And those ads are also on YouTube. It is such a great way. I mean, that's so out of the box. Wow.
And if we saturate it, like if we have hundreds of candidates running ads across the country, I mean, it's going to be impossible for people to not understand the reality of what's happening to these
Yeah.
kids. To hide it, to obfuscate the truth, it will be impossible. And that is a simple way. Like, yeah, it sounds scary, but I promise it can be done. I did it, and I'm just like a little baby. So, you know,
And this is the perfect thread to what we were talking about at the beginning about like we have to make noise, we have to get people to talk about the babies, we have to get people to realize what's going on. And if you were to do this, anyone listening, if you were to run, like this is the a great, effective, in your face, practical way that they will see and they can no longer ignore it. Um, is there anything else you want to add? Anything, a call to people, any action items, anything?
just please keep calling your congressional members and asking for justice for the five. We cannot let this go. I mean, these are real victims that are still being held in the morgue in Washington, D.C. If this goes on years longer without any justice, it will be devastating, especially juxtaposed next to the massive victory that we can have if the American people are forced to listen to hearings and be forced to confront the reality of what happened to these babies. So just please keep calling your members and any other members. You can call them all and just say, hey, I'm so and so. I just wanted to say, I'm asking you to get justice for the five babies, for the DC five. And
Yeah.
they'll make a little note, and it's super easy, but they will not forget. There is interest in this in Congress, and so we just need to keep them interested.
Maybe we can even plan a day, like a Saturday, where we just, okay, everybody, sometime between 9 and 12. Well, not a Saturday. I guess it'd have to be a Saturday so everybody has to work, but at least leave a voicemail. From 9 to 12, you leave a voicemail and then send us a screenshot and maybe we can give you like a t shirt or something. Maybe we can plan something
Yeah,
like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Send out a tweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send out a tweet, do something between these hours, and then we'll do a giveaway or something like that. We can discuss offline, but I think
love it.
good. The more pressure we have, the more we're talking about it. And I've had Kristen on and Melanie, and I think just Kristen and Melanie on to talk about it on various episodes. So I'll make sure I'll link those for you guys too, just so you can get some background. If this was your first time hearing about it, I'd be shocked. But more people learning the better. But if you want to get a refresher, I'll link those as well. And Teresa, thank you so much for coming on. This was great. I am very motivated, honestly. Like, this is really liven me up. Like, I'm excited for the future. I do think like we're going to have some real, I mean, you making the comments about the money thing really has made me feel a lot better, because hearing that it was just 1 year, it almost was kind of like, okay, well, that feels useless. But you're right. Like, and they're already closing places down, and like a year can make a difference financially, specifically. And the reason why they do so well is because they have all that money. So you've really encouraged me. And everyone listening, if you feel the same way, let us know. I will link Teresa's contact information if you want to talk to her. I'll also link the PAAU information. And we'll talk offline about like maybe doing a day or something like that where we can call our Congress people or tweet or something along those lines. And then if you enjoy this episode, make sure you share it with your pro-life friends as well as your not pro-life friends. I think everyone can agree that, especially the 5 babies that have been going around, everyone can agree something not right happened at that moment. And whether you were pro-life or pro-choice, I think you can agree that either way it needs to be investigated. If it was all kosher, I don't think it was. If it was all kosher, at least it's investigated and it's put out there. They can put it to rest. But if it's not, someone needs to be held accountable. So I think this is a good episode to send to your pro-life friends, your non-pro-life friends, your friends that are leftists, that are like, oh, I don't want to listen to that girly thing you listen to. Send this to them. They might actually like this episode. So yeah, everyone have a good day, night, evening, however, wherever you're listening. Okay.